Okay, go.
So just off the top of my head, um, when we were talking last about the I am, it's such a powerful reality that we walk around with God within us. The part of us that literally is connected no matter what in the divine, but we're always taught, like from churches to doctors, and all the answers, any answers that are outside of yourself. Go find knowledge. Go find this stuff. And this is like, I mean, that's huge. And I know, you mentioned numerous times about having a relationship with God. Well, it's like, you know, it's like pen pal relationships only go so far. So it's like you need to kind of like have that internal, that intimate relationship. And I guess like how do you get to that? How do you stop looking outside and start literally, whether it's talking, praying, communicating with God within?
So, in my experience, I had to overcome the teaching that God was outside and that it was uh, almost sinful to say that you are God, that we
Mm-hmm.
are God. So I had to get to work that through um, and be confident that I am God. And then um, the voice comes from within. It's your voice, but it comes from within, and you can practice like being quiet and listening and asking yourself a question and ask yourself a question and wait for the answer, and you can feel the difference between an answer coming out of your mind and one coming out of your I am self. Um, you can feel the difference. One is expansive and knowing, and one is usually not expansive, and it's more um, geared on what you know already, on thinking. Um, you know, the mind will be like, "I'm quiet and I don't hear anything," and that's the mind.
Mm-hmm.
But focusing in um, to the inner being, then you'll feel the difference or discern the difference. But you have to, a person has to believe there's a conversation to be had, because our authentic I am being is speaking all the time to us. It is us. So
Yeah.
it's available and connected with us and loving us all the time. But if we don't think that that's a possibility, or we don't think we're gonna make that connection, then we won't, because what we think is our reality. So if we enter in, there's a relationship to be had. I want to discover it, and I want it to be a moment by moment experience for me, then uh, we'll begin on that journey of discovery,
Mm-hmm.
right? But we have to believe it's possible and that it exists. And so we have to settle for ourselves that we are the I am, and we are God. And God is, you know, looking through Audrey's eyes, and God is speaking through Audrey's mouth, right? And Audrey is this expression of the divine, right?
How did you, what were maybe some like techniques, if you will, to get into where you can decipher that voice?
Um, I can tell the difference.
Yeah.
I can't remember not hearing the voice, to be
Yeah.
honest with
No,
you.
no, I get it.
So, um, but allowing the quietness, and when I understood that the the fears, the doubts, the the questions about in that line, were my mind, then I was like, okay, I can separate from that. I can say, hey, um, I'm listening for my highest self, and taking it in pieces. That one teaching where you breathe out, and at the bottom of the breath,
Hmm.
pause, right, and
Yep.
then you make that connection, and then you breathe in, and at the top, and that's like a split second that you can attach to that connection. The pause in between two places of weightlessness. Uh, um, Asking questions that are not, I had to really understand what my questions were. If I am going to sit down and ask a question, you have to ask a question you can get an answer to. Not some, you know, loose feeling
Right.
about, but
Yeah.
you know, what is it that you want to know? Think of it, if you were going to go speak to somebody, if you were going to come speak to me, the question that you're asking.
Yeah.
You're not like, I kind of feel this, or I think that, or I'm hoping that you can figure it out, Audrey, because like, right. And we enter in um, that way because I think we don't believe, because when, you know, when we're dealing with children, or we're at some point going, ask me tell me what you really want, right?
Right.
Right. All this yelling and not doing anything.
Right.
Articulate what
Yeah.
you really want. So what is it that you really want from that relationship? Right. And do you believe you can have it? We have to settle. We are God. We have to settle that, we're taken care of. We're loved profoundly. We are all the attributes that we are here to create. God creates, therefore we create. So we're creating all the time. Like we getting a hold of who and what we are makes it easier to enter into the conversation and to hear, right? Because then you're not going, well, I'm going to ask, and then I don't hear anything, or it's dumb anyway, or right. But then we get a point where we believe, then we press in. If I am not hearing, um, then I'm just going to keep returning tomorrow, the next day. I'm going to reach inside while I'm driving and stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I start when I realize that it's not an on and an off, like a Zoom meeting and then an off. It's
Yeah.
100% of the time that's me.
Yeah.
That once I realized that, then I started speaking to myself
Hmm.
from that place.
Right.
Yeah, and not from my mind.
So knowing that it's a relationship, just like any other relationship, and I know that you've talked a lot about it before, like like as like a lover and so forth, like that. So again, going back to the choice is us or ours, is that so? Would it be fair to say that you can have the type of relationship you want with the divine? Like, for example, it could be a distant friendship. It could be like, I talk, what, just like listening to some of your responses just got me thinking, like, if like you said, it's like, okay, I had this really pressing issue, so I'm going to talk about it now, and all of a sudden you just like go radio silence for a couple of weeks, and that could be like the relationship. Where if it's
Yeah,
I'm going 100%, it is like a lover.
yeah, yeah. We can live um, our lives out of our persona, right? Out of our mind. We can live our lives uh, out of our our humanness and tune in and out, right?
Yeah.
And speak to our high self from that place, and we will be loved no less, right? Or we can speak from our true being, our high self, our I am being, uh, excuse me, away from the our human experience. Excuse me.
You're fine. So, would you say it's fair to say then that it's like God, the divine, is like a head over heels high school senior that wants to have this relationship, and then it's basically our choice. Do we want to be like, I think we're better off as friends, or we fall either head over heels, and that goes in its own way, or it's like, it's something like maybe after dances we'll hook up kind of thing.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
it's like, why would we want to have a casual relationship like that?
right?
That would be we can
Yeah,
pursue it that way. But why would we? If we know, you know, the I am is there, not constrained by this human experience, is touching down
yeah.
on Earth through this human being. Why would I separate myself from that? All that love and care and direction and clarity and intimacy.
Hmm.
Um, why would I do that? Why
Right.
would I want to live my life um, off over here and out of my mind, or out of a place of limited performance, or I can live in an unlimited place of freedom and actually begin to birth forth those um, concepts within myself that bring me joy.
I just think that's really interesting because I think it's almost counterintuitive to what we're taught
Hmm.
in a lot of ways. Because I mean, it's like we're speaking really openly and frankly, but you think about whether it's relationships, whether it's jobs like that. It's like oftentimes I think we do. Or it's like, you know what? Maybe it's not the best job, but it gets me what I want. So like we take the shortcuts, but like even how like you start, it's like you got to find out. You got to like inside figure out what kind of relationship you want.
Hmm.
Like what
We
you're
can
trying
do
to
it
have.
ourselves and
Yeah.
live at that place, or we can open ourselves to the concept that we don't know everything and we don't have to toil to make stuff happen.
Yeah.
We don't have to toil. We can reach our fullest self expression through the relationship and through the guidance and the wisdom of that comes through that, allowing the I am to walk it out through my humanity. Means I have to surrender
Yeah.
my grip on my humanity. And um, it's there for everybody, but it's a choice and it takes courage to do it because your life changes.
Yeah.
Your life changes
Where,
and it becomes unfamiliar. And the resistance comes from the fact that it's unfamiliar. We're trying to learn a new relationship, a new language, something different, right? So it feels um, unfamiliar and it feels frustrating. But then you begin to give way more room, more room for the I am to move, and then you have more room to hear. And then there's more room, and then it's a team,
yeah.
right? It's a team, and I am the I am, and divinity is moving through my body into the space around me through the work and all of it, and it's a trusting. A knowing. It's a knowing, and we talked about that before, and it shows up in every teaching. Like there's a place of knowing. Knowing is calm and quiet, and it's knowing. There's no doubt when you know something, right?
Yeah.
There's no doubt, there's no fear, right? That's a knowing place. And that's what we achieve when we are in that the, the presence of our self, our I am, right? So getting into the knowing in life, like, I look inside and say, am I at peace? Am I calm with this? Am I knowing? Or am I feeling um, like it's grinding or
Yeah.
it's not comfortable? And so why not? And how am I going to get back into knowing? Like, what's the question? Like, I have this ongoing conversation, and I realize now, um, not everybody does. But when something comes up, then I say to myself, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling that? Is that in line with my belief? What is my question that's bringing that feeling up, right? Uh, I need to be in the knowing place in my life, and I check in, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. My brain is like, hey, you're out there, Audrey. You know you still don't have a place of your own to live, and you still don't not settled in what you're doing. And and then I check inside, and I'm like, I have a knowing that I am on my path, and all of that is here for me as it's unfolding. And so I move out of that into the knowing, and then I address it, like, that's just my thinking mind, and that's the also what other people think about me too, and we get that energy coming our way, right?
Sure.
So I have to be um, in that ongoing. I question everything. I'm talking all the time. you know, what do I need? What am I feeling or sensing, or um, do I need to take some action or not? And you know, I'm looking back over the weeks and months, and the actions I took were out of my thinking mind wanting to come up with something to do to move everything forward, right? Because it's not happening fast enough for me, something like
Mhm.
that. That's all in my thinking mind. And I started to see that um, I was looking through that lens. So I let it go, let it go. Because that's giving room for the conversation. What am I hanging on to? Right?
Yeah.
Nothing
So,
bad is going to happen.
so when you ask a question, you say, you said you ask questions all the time, and I know you've always said that God is nothing but love. The divine is all love.
Yeah.
So, like when we start on this journey, when we work on this journey, do you then basically, so you take a thought, you're just like, all right, I'm thinking this. Do you then take it like a step further and go, is this thought coming from love or coming from something else? And you know that if it's not coming from love, it's not where you're supposed to be going. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I look at what I'm feeling along with the thought. And then I say, what am I feeling? And I mean, if I'm feeling joy,
Yeah.
love, peace, um, I just have a simple question, right? Or I'm feeling anything I don't want to feel,
Right, right.
right? Then I go, I don't want to feel that. Why is that feeling there? Why is that feeling there? And it's usually attached to a thought uh, out of my mind, that my mind is like, what is happening? Where are we going? What are we doing?
Right.
Like, that's my mind. And but in understanding too, we can't be. in the intimate relationship if we're not in the here and now. Because if we're living in the past, which is over
Mhm.
and done,
Yeah.
then our feelings and our expression is from there. And if we're worried about the future or living in the future, we're still not living in now.
Right.
So my body and this being that the I am indwells is here right now. So it's being in the now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And being like, well, that's just a thought. I'm not thinking that way anymore. Right. And I'm choosing to be in living in the I am and not living out of my the catalog of my life up to this moment, right? And then
Right.
my thoughts about the future, right? So and there's a time for visioning, like when you sit down and vision your future, where you're living in it, that becomes the present now for that period of time, right? And we are opening to being uh, led along to the highest and best for us. You know, I don't come in and go, boom, here's my statement, right? And
Manifesting. There you go.
make it happen for me, right? And it's not, it's you. So I realized last week I was sitting in my meditation and I said, my life is a scroll, series of scrolls, and they're unfolding and overlapping, you know, and so it's not like this.
Right.
It's a bunch of things moving in the ethereal realm of my life, right?
That's powerful.
So
It's a powerful.
I have to be observing without trying to put sticks in the sand around it because I don't know, right? I'm actualizing my life, right? Through my relationship, through my relationship um, in the I am, because that's the life I want. I want one that is completely the I am moving in my life. That's my desire.
What brought you to the I am teachings? Like, how did that like be like? Yep, this is going to help me get a deeper relationship.
I when I was reading books on quantum physics and some books, I came across some mystics, books written by the mystics from way back all the way through to modern day mystics, and all of them, I'd say, uh, we are like we are before we're this, like we are. Um, if the body goes, I still am, right?
Yeah.
I still am. So I am, and then I am in here. So um, I read a teaching from Neville Goddard, and he's like, just sit and say, I am the I am. I am. I am, you know, and and I did, and then after a while, it rises up within you. We become open to the truth that's in us by repeating that, because now we're opening to something we were otherwise blocking before because of teaching or
Yeah.
just a lack of knowledge or um, and so then I read other mystics and other teachings, and it's all the same. Like we have to know who we are. I am the I am, and God is right here right now. God is everything or nothing.
Right.
Right?
Right.
God's this computer. Like, so, because God creates and everything is created, um, we're God, we create something, right? So
Yeah.
it was sitting with that for a while and then realizing it. Like, and if I hook onto a teaching that it resonates with me, I will read it um, 10 times because you're moving, you're eating it a bite, and then the next time you're eating what was behind that bite. And then the next time you're eating, like, we can't take it all in
Right.
at the same time. We have to get one truth and then the next truth, right? And then we become open and available to receive more truth. And then the inner being, which is that truth already, we recognize it in ourselves, moving to the front, right? We're not blocking anymore. It's a
That's awesome.
relationship. It's not a master servant where he's going to come in and be like, shake my head or something. No, it's a I come in, I connect, I learn, which gives a room for truth to inhabit. I eat truth. Truth inhabits my being, and the truth comes alive because it is I am.
So it comes back to creating space,
Space
op-
and
opening up more.
and food.
Yeah.
I mean, for
Kind
me,
of important.
it's taking in um, truth that will resonate with the truth that's already in you, right? Gives you confidence. You could get there without that, but it's hard. The I am that we are works with what we put in front of our eyeballs, right? So
Yeah.
when we put in truth, or we're seeking, we're reading because we want to become enlightened, because we want the relationship, then
Mhm.
all that data that we take in, um, it's like stones falling in, right? The truths that are there for us to have, we receive. And then the I am that we are takes those truths and rolls them out of our mind or out of our mouth, right? And we can get it. The truth in us inhabits the truth that we take in and breathes life into it. And now it becomes um, an alive aspect of ourself. Just like the opposite of that would be fear, right? So if people have fear and they meditate on that fear and they read a bunch of stuff that supports the fear,
Hmm.
then the fear is very much alive in every aspect of their being, right? They feel fear in the pit of their gut. They feel fear in their brain, that it has effects on the body, right? There isn't any peace and quietness with that. So that's the opposite. So if we eat truth, um, and I take in knowledge from all across. There's truth in uh, there's no black and white, wrong, right, right.
Hmm.
It needs to be love. It needs to be love. That's how we know it's true,
Yeah.
right? But anything that is those people are bad and these people are good, and it's us four and no more, and anything that's like those people need to die and these people need to live. That's not God. That's not God. That's humanity. That's humanity. And once we get it and we get who we um, we are raised up by that relationship. We no longer need to seek, um, to keep seeking. We've found. Now we develop and expand and grow because we were found. We found out who we are. Now we don't have to keep looking for someone to tell us who we are. Now we develop our unique relationship and grow in that relationship.
I mean, that was really good about like, the idea of just, so it almost seems like once you find it, it's just a matter of nourishing it.
Yeah, well, and it's always there.
Yeah.
Like we were before we got here, and we are, and we're going to be when we leave. So I am that we are is always there. It's our persona, our thinking mind, our humanity that we choose over. We choose over the top of. And like that lesson where it was an overlay, right? The superpower guy action figure, and
I
then the
love it.
persona, right?
Yeah.
So this always persona is limiting this, right? It's limiting this. So we begin to tap in to that super power being that we are. We begin to tap in and we begin to make that connection. We begin to develop that relationship. But it's like every other relationship, you got to show up. You have to have respect and honor, and you have to speak and
Right.
listen, back and forth, back and forth. And pretty soon, you'll won't even know how you were ever without it.
That's
But
huge.
yeah,
I think, no, that's, I think the more that you always continue and you have for the years, it's just like a relationship because like, everyone I think can relate to the idea of relationship. It's like, relationships go both ways. If they don't go both ways, it's not a relationship.
right, right. It's a convenience.
Right. Like you said, or a servitude. It's just one of the two. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
it's like get a teddy bear. I
Um,
mean, right?
yeah.
So there's a great book. Let me get the title of it. There's a great book. It is exactly this teaching, um, in a very uh, easy to take in, really easy
Okay.
to take in, and it is whoop, one truth, one law. I create.
One truth, one law. I am, I create.
Yeah, and it's by Aaron Worley.
Got it. Sweet.
And it's we are all God, and we have just forgotten. And it's excellent. It's the teaching I'm teaching, uh, and it addresses that the I am in each one of us, and that is here for us. It's here for us, every single one of us, and all the longing to have our to be supported and taken care of, and to be connected, and to be in love and peace, is all there. It's all there. Uh, we're choosing um, a different direction, right? And then we learn, and then we can choose that relationship or not, and still the love is there. There's no
The way you break it down, though, is so powerful. It's ridiculous. It's a good thing. Here, cut this for a second. You can cut the recording for a
oh.
second. You got to get our signal straight.